people of the internet. Welcome back to another edition of Books on Brianna's Book Haul Table or Bench. Brought to you by me buying things. Again. I swear sometimes I think that books just like creep in here and sit here and I don't know how they add up so fast. But there is a decent amount of ARCs, a decent amount of eBay purchases, and a decent amount of a stack from a library book sale. So, let's get started. The first one I have here is Only Everything by Karen Scott. I've heard good things about this. It's a contemporary fantasy series. It's a trilogy, and I've really heard good things, and so I picked it up because it was like only 33 cents. The fiction books were $3 for $1. $3 for $1 for fiction! And they had a whole table of YA. It was a beautiful thing. The next couple I actually got at different places. This I picked up at my local thrift store for really cheap. It is City of Dark Magic. It sounds awesome. This is by Magnus Flight or Fleet. It just sounds like a kick-butt fantasy with like all kinds of craziness going on, paranormal suspense, mystery, and fantasy. Just like awesome. How have I not heard this before? And then I found the sequel, City of Lost Dreams, by Magnus Flight, whatever, at the library book sale. So I have the first two books in this series, and I bought them within a few days of each other. So it was really cool to find those, and they were in very good condition. Next I have Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by April Genevieve Jacouk. I've heard mixed things about this, mostly just meh okay things, but I'm intrigued by it. I really like the cover, and it sounds kind of dark and creepy, and I don't read a lot of creepy type books, so I'm kind of interested to see how this goes. It's hardback, very cheap, library book sale. This is the sequel to The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This is the book 2 in the Chaos Walking trilogy, The Ask and the Answer. I've heard fantastic things about this trilogy. Still haven't started it, but at least now I have the first two books in the series. This next one is Chopsticks by Jessica Anthony and Rodrigo Corral. I've heard amazing things about this. It sounds really cool. It's basically like a contemporary story told like completely in picture form, which sounds awesome. Like Why We Broke Up, but better. So, looking forward to checking this out. Also got it at library book sale. It's usually very expensive, so I was psyched to see this there. Also, one I amazingly have already read, but only on ebook form. This is the bind up of the ebooks from the Ironed Face series by Julie Kagawa. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know I'm a huge fan of this series, and I have read all of the short stories that go with it, but this is in paper, like a paperback format of all of them, so I don't have to read off my computer or my phone, which I definitely prefer to read in print, so I'm really glad I found this as well. Next I have The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I've seen the movie. It was pretty funny. It had some iffy parts in it, but and I've heard mixed things about the book as well, but I'm still intrigued, and it was really cheap, so I thought I might give it a try. This next one I've kind of seen like around at libraries, and there was a few copies of it there, and I don't really know anything about it, but it sounds kind of good, like a historical fiction YA. And this one, I'm really proud of myself. I'd never heard of this, never seen it before in my life, but the cover intrigued me. And this is by Elizabeth Knox. I guess this came out in 2013, so it's not a very old book, but I haven't heard anything about it, and it just sounded pretty cool. It's like a sort of a sci-fi dystopian, maybe? Sounds pretty good. Next I have a well-known bestseller called The Luminaries by Eleanor Cadden, and this book is so heavy, especially for a paperback. It's like really floppy, but it's like dense, like oh my gosh, it weighs like 3 pounds. I don't even know, but this is by Eleanor Cadden. If you haven't heard of this, it's like it won the Man Booker Prize a couple years ago, I think, and the chapters gradually get shorter and shorter to go with the phases of the moon, so it's very interesting. That's all I really know about it, but I've heard really good things. Next, I have a two-parter I bought this audiobook, Wisdom's Kiss by Catherine Gilbert Murdoch, on Amazon for super cheap when I bought like a couple other audiobooks from them that they were having a deal thing. Sounded good, like a classic fairy tale-esque type fantasy book with the princess and stuff. And then I saw the print version at the library book sale. I couldn't pass it up because if I end up liking this book, I'm gonna want to have a print form. So when am I get the chance to like find this for as cheap ever again? If I don't like it, it was only 30 cents, but in the meantime, I have two versions for this one. Next, I have another sequel to a book I own. This is Perchance to Dream by Lisa Manchev. This is the sequel to Eyes Like Stars. I've heard okay things about this series. The covers are freaking gorgeous though, and it was really cheap. So I thought, since I haven't read the first one, and the likelihood of me liking it is as good as worth 33 cents, I would pick up the sequel. And this is probably my most exciting book in this book haul. It is The Iron Warrior by Julie Kagawa. This is the last book in the Call of the Forgotten spin-off from the Iron Face series. If you don't know, I'm also a huge Julie Kagawa fan, especially of this series, and this is the last book, and if you follow me on Twitter, you will have seen that I tweeted about this already. I'm so excited. This is Starlight by Melissa Landers. I've heard great things about this author. She did the Alienated series, I believe, and that sounds like a good one. And this is like a sci-fi, contemporary in space, like a futuristic sci-fi contemporary in space, or something like that. And that sounds pretty cool. So, this comes out February of next year, so it should be a good time. And this one is also pretty exciting. This is Passenger by Alexander Bracken. You don't know how much, like, anticipation people have for this book. I don't even really know what it's about. All I know is I love this author, even though I've only read one of her books, and I am really happy that I was able to get this. It comes out in January of next year, and it's gonna be exciting. Next one I also already have read, and this is Tiger's Promise, the novella to go with the Tiger's Curse series by Colleen Houck. I did not own this yet, and so I splurged on Amazon one time, and I just bought it because I've been wanting it forever, and now I finally have the complete Tiger's Curse collection up to this point, until Tiger's Dream comes out in like 15 years, or so it seems. Next is a nonfiction book. Shocker, I know. This is Mr. and Mrs. How to Thrive in a Perfectly Imperfect Marriage by Kurt W. Bubna with Blake Atwood, and this is actually, Kurt Bubna is actually the lead pastor at my church, and he wrote a book on marriage, and so being a married gal, I always want to learn things about how to improve and how to make my marriage better. So, and it's not very long at all. It's not even 200 pages, so I thought this would be a good one to pick up as well when I was in the mood for a little splurging. This next one was I found basically by happenstance at that same local thrift store that I got one of the other books. This is The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. I've heard so many good things about this author from Shelf Life Extension. Hi Alexis. I'm finally going to try a Susanna Kearsley book. Yay! It has these beautiful new covers that are coming out that are like, look like old and antique-y and still freaking beautiful. And I guess this author does like time-traveling dual perspective kind of a stuff. I actually caught a glimpse of the spine when I was passing by the romance section, and the romance section in my thrift store is mostly like Harlequin books, so I don't usually even look in there at all, but I happened to glimpse the spine as I was passing it, and I freaked out because I recognized the cover from Shelf Life Extension's channel. So thank you, Shelf Life Extension, for making me aware of this cover, because otherwise I might not have picked it up, and I'm so glad that I did so I can try this author. It's gonna be awesome. So I might have to start looking through that romance section in the thrift store more often, because they shelve things kind of weird there sometimes. So I'm definitely gonna have to be careful about dismissing a whole section of books just because of what they normally have there. Next one is the first and second book of a duology. I got these on eBay for pretty cheap. This is Iona and Iona by Allison Goodman. Sort of a historical fantasy with dragons. It sounds awesome. I've heard mixed things, but mostly good. And so I'm interested to try these out. And also very cool covers. And the last two are more arcs. The first one is The Imposter Queen by Sarah Fine. Basically, I didn't know anything about this book when I saw it on the arc shelf, but it sounds very awesome. It just sounds sort of like a historical fantasy, kind of. It comes out in January. The last one is Black Hearts by Nicole Casterman. And this is cool because as a huge fan of retellings, this is a Blackbeard retelling, and I don't think I've ever read a Blackbeard retelling. So this is going to be pretty awesome. This might be a contemporary retelling, I'm not sure. And there's been like a lot of buzz about this title, even though the cover is like really simple and like sort of mysterious. Those are all the books I got this time. Not cutting down very much, am I? But, you know, I'm having fun. Buying books isn't hard, you know, when they're cheap. So I bought some. Hopefully I'll start reading some. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!